there, fantasy owners. Welcome to Lift the Cup Fantasy, or LTC Fantasy as some call it. And we're going to have our Weekend Ads episode today, where we're going to look at the schedule over the weekend and hopefully find you that final piece to push and secure that win for you. Some things to note is that there's 7 games on Friday, 9 games on Saturday, and 9 games on Sunday, so not a lot of discrepancy. So we will break it down to players that play Friday and Saturday, then we'll look at players that play Friday and Sunday, and finish it off with players that play Saturday and Sunday. Don't forget to look in the description, because that's where I will mention where in the video to find players that again play Friday, Saturday, then players that play Friday and Sunday, and again Saturday and Sunday. That way, if you do need to come back to the video based on roster needs, injuries, etc., it will be easier to get that piece you need. And don't forget to subscribe. That way, if you do need to come back, the video is a lot easier to find. So we will get right into it. There's only 2 teams that play Friday and Saturday, them being St. Louis and Tampa, so the pickings are a little slim in the first part here. But some defensemen to consider are Nick Leddy from St. Louis. He's owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, currently playing on the top pairing and top power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 7 games played. Another one from St. Louis is Colton Parayko, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. He has 2 points in his last 6 games, so a little bit under half point per game, but he has some secondary value, throwing 10 shots on goal and 10 blocks in those games. Some forwards, I look at Robert Thomas. He's been very good almost all year pretty much. Listed as center right winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Center's at second line and second power play unit, and he has 10 points in his last 6 games played. Another forward from St. Louis is Brandon Saad, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that top line and second power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 11 games. Going over to Tampa, a couple forwards to look at is Anthony Cirelli, listed as center right winger, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues. He can be a little frustrating. He's on that second line and second power play unit, but he has been better the last couple of games, having 3 assists in those 2 games. Last one's Alex Killorn, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he has 3 points in the last 5 games, so over half point per game, but he does play on that first power play unit. And when you're playing with the likes of Stamkos and Kucherov and Point, etc., there's a really good chance that he could produce when he's being streamed. We'll go along to some defensemen that play Friday and Sunday. And I look at Shane Gostisbehere from the Coyotes, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top pairing and top power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 8 games played. Another one's Jake McCabe from Chicago, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top pairing in Chicago, and he's been really good the last 3 weeks here, having 6 points in his last 8 games to go along with 20 blocks, so definitely some added value there. From Detroit, look at Philip Hronek, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second pairing and second power play unit, and he has 3 assists in his last 4 games to go along with 6 hits, so he's not scared to throw the body around if that's considered in your league. Another one's Ryan Pulock from the Islanders, owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second pairing and second power play unit. He's been pointless in the last 5 games, but before that he was really hot, having 7 points in the previous 7, so might be worth streaming, and you catch some lightning in a bottle there. Next one's Eric Brandstrom from Ottawa, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top pairing and top power play unit. He has 2 assists in the last 5 games played, so right around half point per game. And the forward group is getting healthier with Batherson back, and with Shabbat out, Brandstrom's really the top option for minutes and positive playing time, playing on the power play, etc. Next one is Vince Dunn from Seattle, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues, and he's really benefited with Giordano being shipped to Toronto. He is on that second pairing and top power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 7 games played. Another one that has benefited that you could possibly look at is Carson Soucy. just because he is getting second unit power play time and is playing on the top pairing. We'll move along to some forwards that play Friday and Sunday, and I look at Trevor Zegras from Anaheim, listed as center left winger, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and top power play unit, and he's a little highlight reel when he does get going. He has 3 points in his last 3 games. Next one is Nick Schmaltz from Arizona, listed as center right winger, owned in 43% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and top power play unit, and everybody knows how hot he's been lately. He's had 19 points in the last 12 games played. Moving over to Buffalo, I look at Tage Thompson, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and top power play unit, and he has 9 points in his last 8 games to go along with 28 shots on goal, so definitely some added value there. One of his line mates that's been hot too is Jeff Skinner, listed as a left winger, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top line and top power play unit, and he's currently on a 5-game point streak where he has 4 goals and 2 assists. Another one from Buffalo that's been hot the last couple of weeks is Casey Middlestat, listed as center right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, on that second line and been bumped up to the top power play unit. He has 6 points in the last 5 games played. Going over to Chicago, look at Dylan Strome, listed as center right winger, owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line with Kane and top power play unit, and he too has been really hot, having 19 points in the last 12 games. Another one is Taylor Radish, listed as a right winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he's been really getting a lot of extra ice time since coming over from Tampa, and it's definitely showed. He has 5 points in the last 5 games, and he's been a little spark plug, throwing 14 hits in those 5 games. Going over to Detroit, look at Lucas Raymond, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top line and top power play unit. He has 3 points in the last 5 games played to go along with 12 shots on goal. And outside of Bertuzzi, really is the best offensive player in Detroit. Going over to Edmonton, look at Kyler Yamamoto, listed as a right winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line with Draisaitl and second power play unit, and he has 13 points in his last 10 games played. Go over to the Islanders, and they've had some forwards really producing lately. Look at Brock Nelson, listed as a center, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top line and top power play unit, and he has 16 points in the last 12 games to go along with 33 shots on goal. Another one from that top line is Anders Lee, listed as a left winger, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that top line and top power play unit, and he has 18 points in his last 12 games played. And of those 18 points, 11 of them are goals. So if goals are weighted higher, definitely give him a long look. And to finish off that top line is Anthony Beauvillier, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. As I mentioned, he plays on that top line and second power play unit, and he has 11 points in his last 12 games played. Going over across New York to the Rangers, look at Frank Vetrano, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top line and second power play unit, and he's potted 6 goals in the last 7 games. And he is playing on that top line with Zibanejad, so it's looking good for him right now. Another one is Ryan Strome, listed as center right winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently listed as day-to-day, but Gallant was saying that it doesn't seem too serious, so he might be back for the weekend. He has 2 points in his last 2 games played, not counting the last game because he did leave in the first period. Another one's Andrew Kopp, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, owned in 43% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and second power play unit, and he's really loved the Big Apple. He's currently on a 4-game point streak where he's had 8 points in those 4 games. Last one from the Rangers is Alex Lafreniere, Listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Currently on that third line and second power play unit. And he's currently on a 6-game point streak where he has 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points. Go back to Ottawa. Drake Batherson, listed as a right winger, owned in 61% of Yahoo leagues. He's been back from injury. He got 1 assist in the game he returned in. And on the year, he's been over a point per game, having 35 points in 32 games. Next one is Josh Norris. Listed as a center, owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line with Batherson and top power play unit. And he's been hot, having 11 points in his last 10 games played. Next one is Tim Stützle, listed as center left winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line but top power play unit, and he has 12 points in his last 12 games played. So a point per game, really good young forwards in Ottawa right now. Go to Seattle. Jared McCann, listed as center left winger, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he has 3 points in his last 4 games played. Another one is Yanni Gourde, listed as center right winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 9 games played. Go to Vegas to finish it off for Friday, Sunday. Look at Chandler Stevenson, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, so you can place him anywhere in the forward ranks. He's owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues, currently centering that third line, but plays in the top power play unit, and he has 5 points in just his last 2 games to go along with 7 shots on goal, and he's really been the bread and butter in Vegas, producing pretty much all year long. Next one's Evgeny Dadonov, the guy that they tried to ship out, got vetoed, comes back, but he's been producing. Listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, is playing on that top line with Eichel and top power play unit, and he has 9 points in his last 6 games played to go along with 18 shots on goal, so he's been really hot. Even the unwanted are producing right now. And last one is Nicholas Roy. He's listed as center right winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. He too is playing on that top line with Eichel and second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 8 games played. So we'll finish it off with some Saturday, Sunday defensemen. Look at Esa Lindell from Dallas, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the first pairing and second power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 10 games played to go along with 21 blocks, so he's definitely has some fantasy value for you. Next one's Ben Sherratt from Florida, owned in 35% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top pairing with Ekblad out, and he's been really good doing everything there, having 6 points in his last 6 games to go along with 15 shots on goal, 9 hits, and 11 blocks. We'll go to Minnesota. Look at Jared Spurgeon, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second pairing and top power play unit. He only has 1 point in the last 5 games, but he did have 7 points over the previous 7, and he really is, if you're going to pick a Minnesota defenseman, try and find him because he is your best offensive option. We'll go over to New Jersey. Look at Damon Severson, owned in 33% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing and top power play unit, and he's currently on a 4-game point streak where he has 2 goals and 2 assists. Go to a couple from Philly is Travis Sanheim, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second pairing, and he has 5 points in the last 8 games, so over half point per game, which is really nice for a defensive defenseman, and he's had 20 blocks in those 8 games there. Last one's Cam York, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top pairing right now and second power play unit, and he really is a good prospect for him, and he has 3 points the last 3 games. So we'll move along to some forwards that play both Saturday and Sunday here. Look at Jamie Benn, listed as center right winger, owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the third line and second power play unit, but as Dallas is pushing for that playoff spot, the veteran showing up, having 7 points the last 6 games played. Go over to Florida. Look at Carter Verhaeghe, listed as center left winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top line with Giroux and Barkov, and second power play unit. He's been pointless in the last 3 games, but before that he had 8 points in the previous 8 games. And playing with Barkov and Drew, I don't see that dry spell lasting too long. Another one is Anthony Duclair, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he has 9 points in his last 11 games played. A couple from New Jersey for you. Look at Yegor Sharangovich, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line with Hughes and second power play unit, and he's been really good since coming up there, and it's continued the last little while, having 6 points in his last 7 games played. Another one's Nico Heeshire, listed as a center, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues, and he's quietly had a really good season, playing on the second line and top power play unit. He has 9 points in his last 6 games played. I will finish it off with a bunch of flyers for you. Look at Joel Farabee, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and second power play unit. He's currently on a 5-game point streak where he has 3 goals and 4 assists for 7 points. Another one from Phillies, Kevin Hayes, listed as a center, owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, on that second line and second power play unit, and he has 10 points in his last 8 games played. Another one's Cam Atkinson, listed as a right winger, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top line and top power play unit, and he has 11 points in his last 12 games played, and really been the most consistent flyer all season. Last one's Travis Konechny, listed as a right winger, owned in 25% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and second power play unit, and he too is currently on a 4-game point streak where he has 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points. Really do hope that these help you secure that win. We'll be out soon with our Week 24 strategy episode, and if you did like it, please remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and remember that notification bell, and good luck to all you fantasy owners out there.